So today we're going to take a look at TSM versus 100 Thieves and figure out how TSM managed to roll 100 Thieves, the new look 100 Thieves, on Breeze. And it was a destruction, a 13-2 on this deciding map. And so let's take a look at how that happened. And 100 Thieves are on the defensive side, and it started off with this weird defensive setup that they had, which really cost them. And in fact, I'm going to show you 2 rounds where it does cost them, and then they took a timeout and they completely abandoned this idea. So whatever their initial plan was, they realized it just did not work and went away from it very quickly. And the reason it doesn't work is because you got the Viper on B, the Chamber on A, the Sova here in elbow, like that's perfectly fine. But you have these 2 players here on mid doors, and often what they would do, they would Sova dart this, they might even drone down here, they might get a bit aggressive as well with these 2 players a bit as well, which I think was the plan. The problem with that plan is, well, first of all, not that many teams really explore this as like a key area of the map. You know, mid, like, you know, you might send a lurker in there or whatnot, but not too many teams like really commit to it, which is kind of, you know, the first kind of problem with this plan. But then the second problem with this plan is what happens if someone walks up here, because you have no idea that they're going to be there. And if they open the door, that can be a pretty big problem because all of your players are on this side of it. So now, if you know, they're all getting pinched, essentially, is what might happen. Or they could even potentially, you know, Viper Orb this, or maybe Jet Smoke it, and even just walk past, right? That is a legit possibility. And so you just have no idea if anyone is walking up there, and that's a massive, massive problem. And it costs them in these 2 rounds we're going to look at. And most teams solve this, by the way, by just having someone, you know, kind of just go in between this. You know, that's how most teams kind of do this. It's just have one person walk between that, and you know, that isn't so big of a problem. But as we take a look at this round and what's going to happen in this round, that is exactly what is going to happen. The side of TSM, they are going to walk up down here, and you know, 100 Thieves, you can see they're getting very aggressive. They're droning mid, you know, they're taking a look down here. Yeah, there's no one there. But TSM are just walking down here, and they're the Chamber lurking on B. Eventually, Asuna goes back and takes a look, and he wants to see what is in there, which is fair enough. And he finds one person, and then he's going to die. Okay, and then after he dies, they're going to retrieve the gun. So they're going to destroy this chamber trap. They're going to send the dog in, send a smoke in, and retrieve the gun. And now there's a big problem. And in fact, as we watch this round play forward, the big problem for 100 Thieves is that TSM could go here, they could come around here, they could go around here. There's a lot of possibilities. Or they could go back, which is what they're doing. So all of a sudden, there's a ton of possibilities. And you can see this Viper is having to like slowly re-clear. They've left their position on B, which we can see is going to be a big problem as well, to have to like, you know, commit to like re-clear. The Jet was also looking at the tunnel side as well here. So the Jet is, you know, they're pinging the map there. They're worried about it as well. The Sova is also looking into Nest there. You can see he's very worried about it. The Sova, in fact, is about to dart into Nest, as we see here. And that's when Seven's able to get this free kill. Now, Seven actually does get caught off by the Viper, and there is only actually 17 seconds left. So there isn't long left, but now they're going to make like a kind of another mistake, and that is they're all going to fight 1v1. Now, to be fair to Bang, if he gets this kill, they probably win the round, but he dies to Corey, right? And then, you know, each of them, Will and Stella here, are both just going to die to Corey as well, swinging on their own, killing mid there, and then the drone comes out. And we're going to get this final kill as well from Corey as the drone spots Stella, and they get the final kill as well. And so we saw there how, again, TSM were on a save that round. That's a thrifty round, but it was because they had no tunnel control. And so let's come to the very next round. Same setup we can see from 100 Thieves. They're going to send this dart in here. It's actually going to get destroyed. Okay, so it gets destroyed, they ping the map, and now they just get super worried. I mean, look, these players, like, you know, just because a dart gets destroyed, you know, this drone has to come out very early on into the round as well. Like, you know, they just get really, really concerned. But actually, you can see from TSM, it's actually just an A hit. And so it's an A hit with Sub Rosa, again, walking down here. And so that, again, we know is going to be a pretty big problem for them. They start to get in onto the site. We actually get a trade of a 1-for-1 kill here with the ult from Sova coming in, but then for whatever reason Corey felt the need to push through the Viper wall and died to Will. But there's the big problem, is Sub Rosa has just opened the door there. So this door has just been opened, you can see it's right there, and the Jet felt, you know, like, oh, I have to smoke this off. And the problem is for these 2 players now is where on earth do they go? because they're kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place, right? You've got Tabrosa here who's ready to swing out on them at any moment, but they know that there's obviously people down here. And this is the big problem that they had by not having anyone there and not relaying that information early enough, is now these players are stuck. And so Stella here, he gets into like a position where, sure, you can't be seen by door, but as soon as this Viper wall drops, he's absolutely screwed. And so he dies as well, and Will tries to swing out, but again, I mean, Sabrosa was about to swing this out anyway, so even if he does get that first kill, he's dead 100%. There's no way he can do really much more. And then as we run this forward, they're going to find the kill there on Derek. And in fact, even if we go back and think about what Derek's doing here, the thing is, we saw that the Jet and the KO were here, but they left this spot so early as soon as they heard contact on A that honestly, like, there could have been someone from TSM in mid anyway. Even though they committed all that early control to it, there could be someone back here watching this cross, or there could really be anyone in there because the KO and the Jet left so early as soon as they heard contact on A. So again, it was just like a lack of discipline, and then obviously the setup just isn't that great. And so as we just run this forward a bit quicker, because we've already seen this, what ends up happening is we end up with Bang here in this 4v1 that he is not going to win. And I actually think maybe he tries a save, or maybe he does try and go for a couple kills, because he is going to find a couple kills here at the very end of the round. But yeah, this defensive setup from 100 Thieves just did not work. And they, you know, I mean, credit to them, they figured that out. Sean Garris was like, oh, let's not do this anymore. But it really did not help, and it didn't look like they had much of an idea of how to defend on this map. And you can see that Bang does get 2 kills, but then ultimately dies. But it wasn't all just 100 Thieves playing badly. There were some good rounds from TSM in there as well, and this is one of them, round number 9. So it starts off like this. We get this KO knife that they are able to avoid, so ready for that. Indeed, they're TSM, and they're going to try and get this chamber cross up here. Now, there is a little small mistake, I will say, by them here, which is that this chamber crosses before he really needs to, because he could get timing here and just caught out. You know, if this is an operator or something down here, he is just dead. And there isn't really necessarily a need for that because they have the Viper up there. They could just put it up and be fine, and they even send the Sky Flash there as well. And you can see the chamber now is not looking. If an op peaked right now, he'd be dead. So it's just like a small thing. But again, those little small things, I do think against better teams, you know, that costs you, and all of a sudden you're just in a 5v4. But anyway, they do something quite interesting, because I obviously have sent this Sky Flash in here. They just put this Silver Dart, as you can see, in there as well. So that kind of suggests like, hey, we're going to come up here. But actually that isn't the case. And you can see the reaction of the Sova initially is to look in that direction. There it is, and they also ping the map where they think maybe that could be. But instead, they're actually going to send the Sky Dog on B and get the Jet. She's actually going to updraft and dash on top of the pillar here on B, and you'll see that that's a nice little area for them to be in. As we're going forward with this round, though, I'll keep it on the map because for some reason we were focusing on other things. There's the spectators, and you can see we've got this situation where the chamber is pushed up here, and that's going to be the first kill onto Asuna. They also send out the Sky Ult, as you can see, and they had a Viper's Pit to help them get onto the site. The problem that they had is, though, the Viper died to the Sova ult from backside. So there's a bit of a 1-for-1 trade there, and it really could go either way still. But Corey is in this super strong position on top, and really with the flash as well, Bang just has absolutely no chance. They also catch off Derek at the back of the site. This is one where I'm kind of, you know, thinking like, oh, you know, did you really need to like get this aggressive again? You know that there's probably a lot of people there. You know, it's a split-second decision, so maybe I can forgive him a bit. But yeah, maybe better to, you know, sort of play a bit safer than, you know, pushing out here, because you're in no man's land, really. You know, there's no cover there to really get out with. So yeah, we end up with this situation where Seven's able to get that kill on Stellar as well after the Sky Ult, and well, we're in a situation where Will is just going to save. Not really much else happens in this round. Will's going to save, and it was another good round there from TSM. And now let's come to round number 12, and again, let's just take a look at the 100 Thieves defensive setup. So this time they have the Chamber playing aggressive towards mid. They've actually got the Jet coming down here, so they want to aggress a bit more, and they have the Sova in there as well. But we really need to focus here on Asuna on the KO, because he knifes this early. He sees that, you know, nothing's there. They avoid the knife, and as we run this round forward, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to get a bit of an op battle here between Stella and the Chamber from the other side, 7. So you can see here we got a bit of an op battle, and 7 is able to win it, and that puts Asuna into an interesting position because now he is all alone. You can see that the other 3 are all on this B site, and he is completely alone. And so let's take a look at what he does, because he sees that the Viper wall goes up. He's going to throw his KO nade in there as well. But Asuna makes the wrong decision, because in this spot, he has to run away. You have to to run away because you don't even have these chamber traps anymore. So someone actually could be walking up here as well. He has no idea. The door could open at any point again because they didn't have anyone watching that again. And yeah, you know that people are coming on A, but you know, they could be coming up here now. They could be, as I said, coming through the door. They could be coming here. And he's lucky, really, that actually there is just no one going there for him. And actually that isn't the case, but he has to run because all of those are distinct possibilities and he would just die for absolutely nothing. But he doesn't run. He decides to stay and fight and, you know, shoot a Sova drone. And then even after he sees that Sova drone, he still doesn't really run away that much. You know, he still really wants to fight, even though his team are nowhere near him. He gets flashed. He dies. I mean, yeah. And then the other two as well decide to go in running perhaps a bit before they really should. They get flashed. They don't wait for their Viper at all. And you know, they want to get in. I understand they're in a 5v3, so taking risks is a bit more acceptable. And then we end up with the final kill as well from TSM from back here. They did have someone watching this cross. This is what I talked about before with that Sova, is because, you know, they didn't actually know that anyone wouldn't be there. And a very nice round from TSM. But again, it feels like that this is a problem I see with a lot of NA teams, kind of in that kind of tier 1.5 to 2 range, is a lot of people want to make hero plays, and you very often won't be able to. And against, you know, a decent team, they will punish you for that. And now let's come to the pistol side on the other side. So 100 Thieves are now attacking and TSM on. And you can see actually that in this pistol round, TSM also had some mid aggression going on. You know, they send a Sky Flash down. They send a Sova Dart down as well. They get, you know, early mid control as it were, but they also don't have too much going on to shoot. But they have a different setup where the Sova quickly comes back here and is able to drone. So they're able to see what is actually going on down here. It just so happened the 100 Thieves actually are, you know, really running it down here and get there early. So that's what they were trying to do. And so we end up in this position. And again, I just want to remind you what 100 Thieves did, right? Like the two players that were here before, they quickly ran back over here, right? That was their kind of thing. They wanted to run back in, get on onto the site early. TSM don't do that. I don't know why 100 Thieves kind of played like, you know, as if the spike got planted, they'd lost the round. But TSM, they're much more patient. They, you know, they're happy for the spike to go down. They don't mind. GMD is in a bit of a position here, but he plays it pretty well. He does basically, you know, as well as you could expect. So they do drone down mid here, you know, down the hall. And GMD, as I said, the door's been open, so he can't sort of be seen from there. So he just sends out a flash. He gets one. Okay, he gets traded. But that's perfectly fine. And we end up in this 4v4. But again, they are patient. You know, they're not super concerned about, you know, running all the way back in. And so 7 is able to find the first kill here. Now, 7 does make a little mistake here in that after this kill, he should have backed up. They're in a 4v3. You know, it's yours to win. But again, he gets a bit overeager and dies there, and his team really isn't ready for him. So, okay, we end up in a 3v3 instead now. But now I love what they do, because they're going to clear hall first. The spike still hasn't been planted, so that they are patient. You know, they're not going to go running in straight away, and they clear all of halls first, and they see that no one's there, and then they're going to have this really cool idea, because the Sova opens the door and sends out a dart, but then he's going to walk back across here. So obviously what they've heard is the door presence, right? That's what they're expecting. But as you can see, the Sova, I mean, this is minutes before disaster, and yeah, is able to get the kill on the chamber there, and that causes a problem. Now, Corey is able to hit this insane shot on Asuna, but the thing is, even if like he missed, Sabrosa was right there to kill him either. They came from all three different directions, you know, and they really encircled them. You know, you got the Viper here, you got the Sova here. They've actually opened the door, but no one is there, and they have someone coming in through mid as well. So they're threatening actually that they're coming from 4 directions, and they come from the 3, you know, and the one that they didn't come from, you know, is where they open the door and where perhaps they're expecting them to come from. And so it was really well played by the side of TSM. And again, that patience pulled off for them. And then just to end it as well, Will ends up in this terrible situation where everyone's reloading. He does get 1 kill, and then he gets knifed. So yeah, TSM just kind of styling on them there, and they get the round win. And now let's come to round number 14. And obviously 100 Thieves have to buy up, and they have to get a bit aggressive here. We start off with some mid presence, and the Jet they spot in this mid spot here dashes away. Keep that in mind, that, you know, that's a bit of information that they had. And so what happens is Sabrosa gets a bit aggressive, but Bang actually kills him for 100 Thieves. And then we're going to get this mid re-aggress from the side of TSM, but they spot the Jet. They kill the Jet, but Stellar is also there on the chamber, and he's able to get the next 2 kills. But whilst that's going on, they actually ended up in a 4v2 for a very brief second, but they just decided to run it up B, and Rossi here has just sprayed them down from that position there. Don't know how much utility they had, or, you know, whether to use it or not, but again, they decided to go B. it was a bit unfortunate, the timing for them, because obviously they were in a 4v2 for a brief second, and had they just paused and thought, you know, they probably would have been okay. But ends up with the Sova retrieving the spike, and we end up in this position here. But we're going to see a bit of a mistake from the side of 100 Thieves. It's going to cost them this round. And, well, first off, we get this drone, and so Stella has to retreat, and he picks up a gun, and they're going to this A site, and it's all looking fine and dandy. And they know, obviously, where the Sova is. He was on B, and they also saw the jet pushed back on mid, don't forget. You know, they did have contact with this jet. They saw her here, dash back here. So, you know, they probably have a good idea that, you know, there's no way this jet is in A main, for instance, right? They probably have a good idea that this jet is probably somewhere around where the jet is. That would probably make the most sense. So the problem that they're going to have is Stella here. He puts down this trap. It's fine. This is the problem. As soon as Stella sees that that door is open, he cannot stay here. Okay, he wanted to make a bit of an aggressive play, be pushed up a bit, which is fine. As soon as he sees this door is open, he needs to leave. And he needs to leave right now whilst he still has time, because he's going to end up in a terrible situation. And you'll see that. Also, Derek here takes a really weird pathing. I don't know why he didn't just run this way, but he decided to do this instead. And he actually almost, I mean, this could have cost them the round on its own, because if Corey hits that shot, like, just a completely unnecessary risk. I don't know why that happened. But if we watch Stella here, look, he's looking both ways. He doesn't know what to do, right? And that eventually gets shot. The thing is, he has no idea, because this Sova can come around here and just kill him at any time. Literally at any time, he could just die from someone swinging from the door. So why he chose to stay here, I don't know. They were always so desperate to just fight every fight in this game. 100 Thieves, and that would cost them so much. And so we end up in this situation where they end up, you know, trying to fight. I mean, back here as well, Derek is here. He's gone swinging out here as well. You know, he doesn't know about mid doors, so that's what he was looking at, and he dies to the Sova because the door is open. Again, I don't know if he knew the door was open, because he probably didn't see it. But again, Stella's probably telling him that the door is open, so he dies to that. And now Stella, again, is in this terrible situation where he has to look both ways, and so he starts getting shot from behind, and he doesn't know what to do, and he shouldn't have ever been in this situation anyway, because he should have just ran as soon as he saw that the door was open, and he dies. And all I could think of, you know, when I was watching this round is, if I'm Sean Garris, I'm just showing my team that scene from Peaky Blinders where he just goes, no fighting, no fighting. Because that's just what they love to do so much, and it costs them so much and so often that they just have to take every single fight.